I grew up in a house where the internet was practically a dirty word. My parents weren't abusive or anything. Actually, they were pretty reasonable and loving, but when it came to the internet, they were downright paranoid. Anonymous chat of any kind? Banned. No AM, no chat rooms, not even Club Penguin, because, and I quote, "You can talk to strangers on there." They talked like the second you typed hello online, some monster would come crawling out of the screen and snatch you away. So naturally, when I got my first laptop at 12, an old, slow thing my school required for online homework, the first thing I did was try to talk to someone. Anyone. I didn't go into chat rooms or anything sketchy, not because I was obedient, but because my parents' warnings had sunk in just deep enough to make me careful. Still, I wasn't avoiding people either. I ended up on DeviantArt. Yeah, I know, cringe. But at the time, it felt like a wonderland. I didn't post much, just browsed. I'm not artistic, never was, but I liked seeing what others made. And that's how I met him. His username was something edgy and forgettable, but his profile picture stuck with me. The Joker. A grinning, shadowed face staring out with dead eyes. That should have been a red flag right there, but I was 12 and lonely. He messaged me after I left a comment on one of his drawings. Just a thank you, nothing weird. From there, we started talking. And talking. He liked the same games I did. Watched the same cartoons. Understood the same kinds of dark jokes I thought made me edgy and grown up. He was funny. Smart. He made me feel seen. We messaged every day. And then, maybe a week or two in, came the first crack in the mask. He said something like, "Sometimes I think the world would be better off without me." It was casual, tossed in like he was commenting on the weather. I sent back a sad face, said something like, "Hey, I like talking to you." He didn't respond right away, but the next day, everything seemed normal. So I didn't think much of it. But that wasn't the last time he'd say something like that. His messages started getting darker. Soon, they weren't jokes anymore. He'd write these long, rambling rants about how much he hated himself, how empty he felt, how badly he wanted to die. Graphic stuff, too, talking about methods, pain thresholds, how long it would take to bleed out. I was 12. I didn't know what to do. So I did what any scared kid would. I tried to help. I stayed up late, typing through tears, trying to talk him down, trying to make him laugh, telling him he mattered. I honestly believed that if I said the wrong thing, he'd kill himself and it would be my fault. And then the tone shifted. He started saying how I was the only one who cared, how he needed me, how he couldn't live without me, that I was his light, his angel, his everything. It went from sweet to suffocating, fast, and I was too young to see the difference at first. Then one day, my laptop broke. Just a hard drive thing, nothing serious, but I was offline for maybe 2-3 days. When I finally logged back in, I found dozens of messages from him. At first, they were normal, then frantic, then furious. The last one chilled my blood. "I can't take this anymore." Attached was a link to an image. It was a photo of wrists, slit deeply, red and raw and beginning to scab. I stared at it, frozen. My stomach twisted. Was it real? Was it his? Had he done it? I messaged him immediately, hands shaking. And he answered. "I thought I lost you," he said. "I thought you left me. I couldn't take the pain. Don't ever do that to me again." I said I wouldn't, that I was sorry. And he calmed down. For a little while. But after that, it was like something snapped in him. He messaged me constantly, obsessed over me, told me I was the reason he was alive, that he wouldn't survive without me. Every conversation was a swirl of declarations and threats. How much he loved me, how he'd kill himself if I ever left. I stopped sleeping. I was scared all the time. Scared that he'd do it. Scared that it would be my fault if he did. And then, almost a year after we first spoke, he said something that finally made me realize I needed to get out. He started talking about me being the last good thing left in this miserable world. That he'd finally figured out how to be truly happy. He said he'd decided that if he was going to die, he wanted to take me with him. He described it like some twisted love story. Said the only way we'd ever be together forever was if we died together. Said he'd carve out my heart, clutch it against his chest, and lie beside me as he took his last breath. He described it in detail, how he'd do it, where, what it would look like. He was painting a picture in blood. I felt sick. That night, I didn't sleep. I deleted my DeviantArt account the next morning. Just like that. Gone. I never told my parents. Never told anyone, really. And for years after, I didn't talk to anyone online. Not a single soul. Even now, Every time I get a message from someone I don't know, there's a little voice in the back of my mind whispering, what if it's him? I never found out who he really was. I don't know if he was just a broken kid or something much worse. I hope he got help. I hope he's okay. But more than anything, I hope we never meet again. Love horror? Subscribe to Tales from the Abyss for chilling stories that will haunt your dreams. Got a favorite scare? Drop a comment below, I dare you. I'm from a city in the northeast of Scotland, and this story isn't just mine. It involves two close friends, Debbie and Joe. We met working at Virgin Megastore in the early 2000s. The staff was like a little family, music and movie lovers, all on the same page. Rory joined us in 2007 as a Christmas temp. He was young, obsessed with Pink Floyd, and loved making short films. He fit right in. After the holidays, most temps moved on, but Rory stuck around, visiting, messaging, showing up at events. The next year, he was back again for another Christmas season. I was actually glad to have him in the stockroom. He even made a fan documentary on Pink Floyd and interviewed me and Joe for it. It wasn't bad, considering he didn't have much equipment. After Zavi shut down in 2009, we stayed in touch. In 2010, Rory organized a reunion. He crashed at my flat for a night, then headed to the US to work at a summer camp again. I admired that. He seemed driven, chasing opportunities. Then the story started getting strange. In 2011, he told me he was working on the TV show Burn Notice behind the scenes, somehow while at a camp in Florida. It didn't add up, but I didn't question it. I wanted to believe him. A friend later told me Rory had wasted an entire day on set talking about his favorite directors instead of doing any actual work. He was constantly exaggerating. By 2012, he and Debbie had grown close. They'd go to the movies and hang out. Still harmless. That Christmas, he came back to work a shift again. But this time, people were irritated. He kept dropping names and claiming to have worked on major shows like The Wire and Criminal Minds. None of it made sense. The team didn't buy it, but no one said anything, because they knew I was still friendly with him. Then something happened that really annoyed me. Rory messaged me the night before a reunion, saying everyone was going to a pub quiz, something I'm not into. I skipped it. The next day, I found out there was no quiz. He'd lied to keep me away, and that hurt. But I didn't want to cause drama. Joe and Debbie still trusted him, and I didn't want to be the one to split the group. In 2013, Rory claimed a family emergency had kept him from returning home that year. I found out later it wasn't true. He said it to gain sympathy. But the moment that made me start asking serious questions came in 2014. Debbie and Joe were living together by then, and Rory had worked his way deeper into their circle. That year, he took them, and another friend, to 3 back-to-back concerts in different cities. Paid for everything. Travel, hotels, tickets. But he didn't have a job. No known source of income. No client list. No website. Just vague claims of video editing and YouTube money. But his channel was inactive, filled with reused footage that couldn't even be monetized. I finally blocked him. I was tired of the bragging, the strange lies, and the way he played people against each other. But Debbie defended him, so I gave in again. I stayed quiet. But Rory didn't stop. He started sending me smug messages, reminding me how close he was with Joe and Debbie, like he wanted me to know I'd been replaced. I walked away for good. Quietly. No fight. Just gone. But curiosity stayed. I started digging. I asked around. I found out the Florida camp he mentioned never hired him. He'd actually been at a completely different camp in Maine. And under the visa program he used, he wasn't allowed to take side jobs at all, meaning all the big TV claims were likely made up. And then the strangest part, friends who still followed him online said he was constantly traveling. Concerts, hotel stays, gear, tickets, money flowing like water. But he wasn't a dealer, and he wasn't internet famous. Something was off. Then I remembered, years ago, Rory had once mentioned the deep web in casual conversation. I didn't think much of it at the time, but now, it was chilling. Fast forward to October 2018. A friend sent me a headline. Rory had been in court. At first, I thought maybe it was something minor. Maybe copyright violations? Tax issues? No, the charges were serious. He had been using online platforms in deceptive ways. The details were troubling. He had created fake identities, misled others, and had engaged in harmful digital activity. He had also sold that material for cryptocurrency. That was the source of the money. The court found him guilty. He was sentenced to several years and was placed under long-term restrictions to prevent future harm. His name is now permanently listed in official registers. I was stunned, furious, not just because of what he did, but because I'd known something was wrong. I just couldn't prove it. Joe and I still talk once in a while. Debbie moved on. She's married now, happy and safe. We're not close anymore, but I'm relieved she's okay. She saw the truth eventually, even if it came too late. It's a hard story to share, but I'm sharing it because sometimes the people who seem the most harmless are the ones hiding the darkest secrets. This happened almost 10 years ago, but it's stuck with me ever since. I got home from work one day, sat down with my phone, and saw a Facebook message from someone I didn't know. It started with, "Hey Lot Lizard, I know you don't know me, but I've been trying to decide whether or not to reach out. Someone has been catfishing me using your identity for over 2 years. Yeah, 2 years. Someone had used my photos, my art, and even fake being friends with my real family and close friends, just to build a believable Facebook profile. This person had fully recreated my online presence, and then some. They even added their own captions to my photos and claimed credit for drawings I'd posted. I didn't know whether to be mad or laugh. The woman who messaged me, let's call her Sarah, had been in a long-distance online relationship with this imposter. It was serious. They had been intimate, called each other often, and even talked about a future together. But in all that time, the imposter never showed her face. Not once. To make the story more convincing, the fake profile claimed that I was trans, which, in real life, I'm not. I think the imposter needed an explanation for why their voice sounded more feminine over the phone. Turns out the person pretending to be me was a woman. Sarah was understandably shaken. She started asking me questions, some that seemed innocent, like, did you go to high school? But then she asked something that gave me chills. Is your best friend named? That struck me. This friend is super close to me in real life, but there are barely any photos of us online. Then she asked if I was adopted and named my half-siblings. That info? Never posted. Anywhere. That's when it hit me. Whoever this imposter was, they didn't just study my online presence. They knew me in real life. Sarah had reached out to me shortly after confronting the imposter. She'd finally demanded a video call, or at least a photo. The imposter admitted everything and hung up. She gave me the fake profile URL. It was still up for another day or two before it vanished. What I saw was surreal. This person posted more than I ever did. They created fake profiles of people in my life and even gave them backstories so they could comment on my photos. It was like looking into a twisted mirror where someone had lived out an entire alternate version of my life. But here's the part that really sealed it. Sarah sent me a photo, black and white, looked like a barn or some old building, and asked if I had taken it. I hadn't, which stood out because everything else the imposter used came from me. She tried reverse image searching it. No results. Then, this still creeps me out, she tried something weird. The imposter had listed a fake phone number on their profile. Sarah reversed the digits and Googled it. It led to a landline at the home of a girl I went to high school with. We were Facebook friends, so we checked out her real profile, and there was the original photo, the same one the imposter had passed off as mine. That confirmed it. This girl I barely talked to in school, a quiet, artsy type, had created a whole life around being me. I considered messaging her, but I didn't. What would I even say? Hey, thanks for stealing my identity for 2 years. I talked to Sarah a few more times. We both needed to decompress, but I always had this sneaking suspicion. What if she was the imposter, just trying to start a conversation with me in a new way? I mean, it would have been the perfect last move, one final connection before disappearing. But she seemed just as ready to walk away from it all as I was. So maybe not. Even now, I still don't know why she chose me. I'm a pretty normal guy, not a model, not famous, just me. But according to Sarah, this girl had spent more time pretending to be me than actually living her own life. That thought stuck with me. I've had my own struggles. I've escaped into fantasy, into addiction, into all kinds of things. So I get the impulse, wanting to be someone else. But it's a strange feeling knowing someone else chose you to live as, when you were spending your own life wishing you could be anyone but. Years later, a friend told me that the girl, the imposter, now identifies as non-binary. And maybe that was the root of all of this. Exploring identity, testing the waters from behind a screen. I'll never know for sure. But if either of them is out there, Sarah, the girl who catfished, I'm open to talking. Not for closure, but maybe just out of curiosity. I'm not angry anymore. Just always left wondering why. Thanks for joining me on this journey through the strange and unexpected. If you enjoyed the story, hit that like button, share with fellow curious minds, and don't forget to subscribe for more. Until next time, stay curious, stay intrigued,